All right. Good evening. My name is Jackson Louder, and I'm a finance major at the University of South Florida. For this project, I'll be exploring company culture and career paths within the financial field, specifically looking at how finance connects to sustainability. Today, I'll be interviewing Brent Louder, a business owner who works in carbon credit management and financial services. We'll be discussing his career path, the culture within his business, and how it compares to a traditional financial firms such as JW Cole Financial, based here in Tampa. Thank you for joining me. Brent, could you start by introducing yourself?
Yes, good evening. Brent Louder. I am an owner with a sustainable solutions through applied technology firm. So I do look at the aspects of how carbon credits can be utilized and created for a company to offset their greenhouse gas footprint. We've been in business for over 20 years now. We started from different sustainable solutions that were off the shelf, but looked how they could benefit both the services of which a company provided as well as their financial bottom line. Always growing up hunting and fishing, we also looked at how sustainability and offsetting one's footprint had a real impact to the bottom line of the company. Being a property owner, you see where you have to generate revenue from the assets that you hold, which directly impacts what you could do in the future. Carbon credits seemed like a natural basis to look at the ecosystem services where trees and forest growth can generate the carbon credits, but we utilize the conservation and consulting to develop those credits where the companies that acquire our carbon credits can see the real impact to their bottom line if they don't offset their, say, fleet fuels or carbon emissions due to the products and utilizations. It helps them hit their bottom lines with achieving sustainability goals.
How did you first get into carbon credit business?
Got it. We started, like I had mentioned, in technology. We would train the trainers. We looked at the sustainability from communications in mobile offices. We utilized power line communication, which turned the electrical wirings into the high-speed data jacks and transformed what had been traditionally in the hotel mixed-use space into the construction space where you had networks within facilities, but you didn't have networks out at a job site from creation. We could use a product in a job site that can be reutilized into the next one. So sustainability has always been a goal to reduce your product and input costs to do more work repeatedly. It's not that the job gets any easier, but you get to do it better and better with our solutions.
And what exactly would you say drew you to this kind of work?
Providing a service that has an ongoing benefit has been something that's there. You have to generate money to sustain a business and grow and acquire what you're doing, and being able to do that for more and more across Florida as well as North America had been appealing, and working with families. So that's always been a goal together to build it and turn it over.
Can you explain how managing finances plays a role in your business?
Absolutely. A lot of the projects that we develop will cost several $100,000 to get started and develop over the next 18 months. Now, there's a benefit to having enough capital to generate the project yourself, to hire the on-site consultants that you can then deliver a verifiable greenhouse gas credit through the reduction of deforestation. Or you can hire those individuals, and that's where we've had a real asset of managing the projects. We don't have to keep the individuals on staff constantly, but we will set them up for a project base. So it's been well utilized to identify the project owners as well as the project buyers, and not have to internally hold on to the payroll, the expenses of the hiring of the employee, but actually construction project management, if you will, from a ecosystem service side.
Since you were one of the owners of your business, how would you describe your company's culture?
Culture, in a word, would be collegial. We all have different backgrounds. I work with my father, who had done traditional construction, heavy highway, build design structure, And as he built that first company, my brother and I were finishing with other careers, and he had said, let's do something together. So we decided to create our company with his experience, the unique skill set that my brother and I both bring to it, and look at how together we can utilize those assets, the different temperaments and talents, build a stronger base and a wider base to build a business that each of us has those skill sets, some with the relationships, some with the environmental side, and some with the financial side.
How would you describe the kind of work environment you've tried to develop with your partners?
With our partners is that they have a skill set that we don't have. There are PhD soil specialists, hydrologists, biometricians, traditional forestry, as well as chemists and scientists that look at the overall projects that our client buyers are in. So it had been mentioned fuel sourcing or emissions of a buyer of our products, whereas the credits we create are reducing the footprint and doing it in a financially efficient way. The companies that we sell to look at offsetting more efficiently than changing over all core business, so that if someone knows that they're bringing materials from a port to a distribution, we can offset the fuel costs that's inevitable for doing the amount of heavy lifting they do with restoring or conserving the natural ecosystem with our forest carbon credit offsets. So financially, it's an incentive to them to gradually, as technology comes on board, make a zero footprint commitment to their environmental off-gassing.
How would you, or how does your business balance profitability and environmental responsibility?
Profitability and responsibility would be a big part of what you're doing, partly because our overhead is minimal. We're very agile, being a family business, as well as being the project developer and owner's representative, if you will. The owner's not going to spend the time to get the education to do it. They own the raw asset that has the forest, in this case, on it. There's a financial incentive to the landowner to cut down and sell for traditional lumber, but the long-term environmental benefit to cleaner air, cleaner water, better habitats, water recharging systems to sustain that forest, there had to be an incentive to it. In Florida, we have a big mouse in the state that offsets their fuel consumption and burning for a cruise line by, in essence, buying the carbon credits that are generated from the saved forest. So the environmental impact is achieved through the financial benefit from the owner of the forest, not to harvest it, because the offsetting credits that can be generated through this sustainable solution.
If you compare your company to a traditional financial advising firm like J.W. Cole, what stands out?
The biggest thing that stands out is there's an unrealized asset in the carbon credit project development. The landowner has an unrealized asset in the environmental benefit of the sustainability of those credits in a forest. There hadn't been enough dollars to make sense for the landowner to switch the focus to sustainability, ongoing environmental impact, than traditional forestry or traditional clearing and development of the land. The additional benefit is the technology within, say, the cruise industry or the airline industry cannot change technologically to reduce their emissions, so they have to offset their emissions. So we merge the two, an unrealized asset in the landowner with the forest conservation projects that generate a measurable, verifiable greenhouse gas reduction from the storage of carbon through photosynthesis in the biomass, that the cruise and airline industries can offset verifiable credits and continue to produce their product of delivering goods and services and people.
So you'd say it's a little bit different than personal investment advising?
It would be a little different than, it's not dealing with a traditional asset and management, whereas you buy an asset, enhance its value either through efficiency or restructuring. Say if you're taking a high-rise complex and developing it with tenants and its resources and increasing its square foot rental, we're sustaining a forest from business as usual practice changes, yes.
Culture with a big company like J.W. Cole, would you say that your culture feels different from something like that?
I would say so, because we do have the agility to work with the private individual that's a landowner that has multi-generational forested acres, that they have a farm that has production row crops, production pine forest, and a traditional swamp that may have been recreationally used only during hunting and hiking seasons. So whereas a larger company is looking at full portfolio financial management, we're looking at a natural resource management where the long-term goals of our clients, like a traditional financial company, would to enhance and grow the financial return for their clients. We do from the clients and landowners that we work with to develop and have an ongoing financial incentive to them with the projects that we deliver and develop for their land.
And what type of person would you say would thrive in your kind of business environment?
Someone that understands a holistic approach to providing a sales and solutions service. Leave it better than you found it, almost Boy Scoutish, that you have grown up and understand the resources of being a good steward to the environment, but you also understand that just preservation, putting a wall up and simply observing something, does not enhance its value. A consumer use or consumptive use enhancement has to be done and have to have those skill sets in a business that we do.
And for someone who might want to enter this field, this kind of industry, what career paths are available?
The career paths that we see are in natural resource management. From a forestry, traditional timber, you understand that planting trees, growing trees, time asset, time value of money over those developments. So both forestry as well as biological. You have to understand the chemistry of it. So analytics do make a difference. These trees grow at a standard average. You're looking at percentages, and so both a financial and an environmental background that looked for a long-term return, those would be good assets for a person.
Right. And what are some of the biggest challenges in running a business like this?
Long-term sales cycle. You're really having to look at the financial investment either the company does to develop a project, or the financial investment up front from the landowner to hire us and do the development. So our sales cycle being long, our return also being multi-decade in its return. You have to look at the long-term goal. We're not an upfront business, we're a long-term relationship sale.
All right. And how do you see this field changing in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think as the efficiencies in the industries in which are our clients, like I mentioned, travel with both shipping and flight as in freight, or over rail and road. So trucking industry, logistics from how materials say leave Hong Kong to here. As those technologies and the efficiencies of their fuel costs, their consumption, either electricity, diesel, or other fuel, gets more efficient, you'll also see those resources environmentally becoming greater in value, because we don't make any more land. As people and populations grow, the consumptive use of land, either developed into paved over brick and mortar, you'll see the value of natural resource management increasing. So there'll be a diminishing resource of that, what is valuable for us, as well as the value will increase for its diminished pieces. It'll be agile, and hopefully it'll seek a balance, and everybody can benefit from that balance being found.
Nice. What advice would you give to students like me who want to connect finance with environmental impact?
Bottom line has to make enough dollars to make sense. It's not going to be a losing business. You have to adjust. It's not an immediate return, but a long-term investment that will see sustained use from aligning with your long-term goal. It's looking at the financial benefits from enhancing a resource that you have or monetizing the unrealized asset so that you don't have to increase your sales or production. You have to allow the monetization of a resource that historically has been undervalued, and then utilize it to help benefit an industry that's going to take a longer cycle to change and grow.
And what would you say is the most rewarding part of your work?
Seeing the benefit to the landowner itself. If they're multi-generational private owners, or like I was saying, the agility to work with a private owner all the way to a TIMO or a timber investment company that would buy 100,000 acres for a workers' union trust of one state or just another large investor, but the property is managed for traditional timber. So we see both the individual and the corporate client benefiting from the sustainability and the environmental impact, whereas not everybody gets to hike, hunt, and fish on land that they own, but we all benefit from cleaner air and water by those enhancements that the individual can do, all the way to the corporate investor can do from a traditional financial side. Seeing the forest for the trees.
Nice. And last thing, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing about running a business, what would it be?
Lengthen your return on investment timeframes. If you can see the longer and sustainable goals over time, you're not looking for the sale immediately and the gratification up front. It's important, but attaining and achieving that with the clients you identify does have real benefit. Look at the longer term gain.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Brent. This was incredibly insightful. From our conversation, I learned that while your company operates in a different space than traditional financial advising, the foundation is still the same: trust, precision, and long-term relations. Compared to J.W. Cole, your business focuses more on purpose-driven finance, where success is measured not in just your profit, but in environmental outcomes. Personally, I really admire how you've combined entrepreneurship, sustainability, and financial management. It shows that finance can be used as a tool for both growth and good. This interview has given me a new appreciation for how flexible a finance career can be and how important company culture is in sharing that experience. Thank you again for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.